Order 80, and question 85 is expected to come from
Mr. Speaker.
We have question number 85.
Yes, Joe, the bells are still ringing, symbolizing that a quorum is yet to be formed, and it is a requirement that 1/3 of the House has to be present for business of the House to continue. So the bells for now are ringing, and we expect business to resume as soon as a quorum is formed. And just before the break, the Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development had just started presenting the Zambia Institute of Quantity Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2024. And the object of the bill is to provide for the registration of quantity surveying professionals, quantity surveying organizations, and quantity surveying units, and regulate their practice and professional conduct, and also to continue existence of the Quantity Surveyors Registration Board and rename it as the Zambia Institute of Quantity Surveyors and redefine its functions, and also to repeal and replace the Quantity Surveyors Act of 1995. The bill also seeks to provide for the matters connected with what has been said. So this is what the object of the Quantity Surveyors Bill that has just been presented by the Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. And still to come, we have a number of questions to be considered on the floor of the House. We have about 8 questions which will be considered under Standing Orders number 80. And one of the questions is coming from Lovezi Member of Parliament, Mr. Mabenga. He's directed his question to the Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises Development, and he wants to find out whether government has any plans to reserve the following categories of investments for Zambians: 1, block making; 2, chicken rearing; and 3, egg production. And part B of the question, whether government has a deliberate policy that supports Zambians to venture into the investments that have been mentioned.
Mr. Levan Chiwambwe of Bahati is expected to ask the Minister of Health in 3 parts: whether the government has any plans to start administering the R21 matrix malaria vaccine to children under 5 years order in Wapula province; in B, if so, when the plans will be implemented; and C, whether the government has conducted any research on the vaccine to prove its efficacy.
This is Parliament Television, and business of the House is expected to resume as soon as a quorum has been formed. It is a requirement that 1/3 of the House must be present for business of the House to continue, and in this case, the bells are ringing for the members of Parliament to reconvene after the health break. We continue looking at the questions expected to come on the floor of the House.
We have question 97, which is expected to come from Mr. Francis Mpianga, Member of Parliament, to ask the Minister of Tourism in A, what measures have been taken to promote tourism in the following areas: North Ruangwa National Park, Nachifuku Cave, and Nabwaria and Mukungule Chiefdoms; and B, when the government will award hunting concessions in North Ruangwa National Park.
And question 88 is expected to come from Kasama Central Member of Parliament, Swongile Mwamba, directing a question to the Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts. And part A of the question, she wants to know what the progress is in percentage terms on the construction of Kasama Stadium was as of March 2024, and part B, who the contractor of the project is, and part C, what the cause of the delay in completing the project is, and part D, what the time frame for the completion of the project is. And now we seem to have a quorum.
Order.
Goes back to the floor of the House.
When business was suspended, the Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development was presenting the Zambia Institute of Quantity Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill 19 of 2024. May the Honorable Minister continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Zambia Institute of Quantity Surveyors Bill number 19 of 2024. The objects of the bill are to A, provide for the registration of quantity surveying professionals, quantity surveying organizations, and quantity surveying units, and regulate their practice and professional conduct. B, continue the existence of the Quantity Surveyors Registration Board and rename it as the Zambia Institute of Quantity Surveyors and redefine its functions. C, repeal and replace the Quantity Surveyors Act of 1995. And D, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Submit.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Zambia Institute of Quantity Surveyors Bill, National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2024.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House by Wednesday, 27th November 2024. Honorable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. We make progress. Questions for oral answers under Standing Orders 80. The Honorable Member for Bahati.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the people of Bahati are asking question number 85.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Bahati wishes to ask the Minister of Health, A, whether the government has any plans to administer R21 matrix malaria vaccine to children under 5 years old in Rapula province. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And in C, whether the government has conducted any research to prove its efficacy. In our response, Mr. Speaker, allow me to highlight that malaria remains among the top causes of disease and death, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, that accounts for 95% of the nearly 250 million cases recorded globally every year. In Zambia, 3 out of every 10 contract malaria every year, according to the latest malaria indicator survey. A total of 88 districts have been noted to record moderate to high malaria transmission, with incidences well above 250% in the 1,000 population. The districts are mainly located in northwestern, Rapula, northern, Muchinga, western, eastern and central provinces. With that said, Madam Speaker, government has plans to administer R21 matrix malaria vaccine to children under 2 years, not only in Rapula province, but countrywide, to complement other malaria preventions and control strategies in contributing to the reduction in morbidity and mortality due to malaria. Mr. Speaker, in B, the government, through the Ministry of Health, has envisioned to implement vaccination plans in the third quarter of 2025. In C, Mr. Speaker, Zambia has not conducted any research to prove its efficacy. However, the country relies on evidence gathered from global research conducted by WHO, including research conducted in Malawi and Ghana. By October 2023, the World Health Organization had approved 2 malaria vaccines, R21 Matrix, and the other area approved RTS S/A01. Mr. Speaker, both of these vaccines have shown to be safe and comparably efficient and have got the efficacy for use in children under the age of 5. The malaria vaccines showed 13% vaccine attributed drop in mortality among children, as well as substantial reduction in hospitalization for severe malaria when used together with other interventions such as insecticide-treated bed nets with high vaccination coverage rates among eligible children. These results were reported through independent evaluations of the pilot introductions conducted at the global level in countries that have rolled out malaria vaccinations. In phase 3 clinical trials, both vaccines reduced malaria causes. Mr. Speaker, it's too much noise from my neighbor here. Black and white. Global levels in countries that have rolled out malaria vaccines. In phase 3 clinical trials, both vaccines have reduced malaria causes by more than half during the first year after vaccination, the period when children are most vulnerable from illness and death due to malaria. Mr. Speaker, the Zambia Immunization Technical Advisory Group, ZTAG, which is a committee of experts that advises the Ministry of Health on the new vaccine introductions, reviewed the available evidence at global and regional levels on the efficacy of the malaria vaccine. Following this review, the ZTAC recommended that the Ministry of Health considers R21 Matrix malaria vaccine for possible introduction. The Ministry of Health, working through University Teaching Hospital, research institutions in Zambia, including the Tropical Disease Research Center, will facilitate malaria vaccine research working with other countries such as Mozambique, Benin, and Ethiopia once the vaccine is successfully introduced in Zambia. This will provide local evidence and evaluate the efficacy and impact post-introduction on malaria burden in Zambia. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
There is a point of order. Well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm raising a point of order pursuant to Standing Order 212, the privilege of members of Parliament, which privilege is also established in the new CDF Act. According to Act number 1 of 2024 for CDF, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development delegates his function of approving the names of CDFC committee to the provincial administration, to the provincial minister. Now it has come to our attention that these powers that have been delegated are being abused. I'll give you an example for Bangor constituents, and the approval is even delaying. We submitted our list on 18th September, and it took the minister 40 days to approve the names, which the substantive Minister of Local Government did not take in the past. Not only did it take long, the minister for the province elected to alter the names that was submitted to his office. Mr. Speaker, is the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development in order to sit quietly and allow his delegated powers to be abused by his counterpart. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member, the matter you've raised is important, but can you put in a question so that the minister comes to the House to be able to answer the question? Supplementary questions. The honourable member for Bahati.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it's indeed good to note that government has plans to procure this new R21 matrix malaria vaccine. Mr. Speaker, malaria is one of the most lethal diseases, killing a lot of people in my constituents and killing a lot of people in Luapula province and other parts of the country. Mr. Speaker, some people die simply because they can't afford to buy Coartem. And Mr. Speaker, malaria still remains the major cause of childhood deaths in the country. Mr. Speaker, this vaccine is being distributed by Gavi, which is a global vaccine alliance, and the vaccine is produced by a company called GSK. Mr. Speaker, Zambia is not among the list of countries preparing to receive shipments of R21 matrix vaccine. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I may name the countries that are going to receive next year, and Zambia is not appearing. The countries are Senegal, Ivory Coast, Chad, DRC, Mozambique, Nigeria, South Sudan, Uganda, and the Central African Republic. Minister, what assurance are you giving to the Zambian people that come 2025, this country is going to receive the vaccine, especially that this country is not appearing on the list of countries that are receiving the vaccine next year? Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Member of Parliament, for follow-up. Thank you very much. The vaccine is not yet available in Zambia, yes. The vaccine is only distributed on application. When you apply, it will be done. But now, the process of processing that same question takes a bit long. In Zambia, we're expecting the vaccine around September next year because of the procedures that are required. The application, we did it already. We are just waiting for the response. Moment the application has been approved, the Zambia's name will be included on that list. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kawata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Minister, now that you've stated that this drug, or vaccine rather, hasn't been tested to check the efficacy or the safetiness of the drug. Now my question is, how do you intend to administer it to the Zambian children when the trials on Zambian children has not yet been done? When do you intend to, or why do you intend to do that when the trials have not been effected? Because the efficacy hasn't been done to prove the safetiness, but we want to rely on another country who has a different terrain, who has a different geographical environment. I thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Honourable Member of Parliament for Kawata. It doesn't really matter whether it is done in Zambia, Malawi, or Ghana, but it's done on a human being who has got also DNA like you and me. those samples can be used. These are used by international organizations. Those are international practices. We can depend on that data, which is, data which is coming from those proven research tests which have been done. In Zambia, yes, it hasn't been applicable, but also even the process which is undertaking. When it comes here, we have got also our own institution, ZIMRA, also to be subjected to the test to see how safe it is before it is applicable. But it would have already passed an international standard. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Minister, thank you so much for the answers that you're giving. In areas like Chiengi, it's an area where malaria has not been yet eradicated like Lusaka. So my question is, how do you intend to administer this vaccine in areas which are already malaria prone, unlike Lusaka? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chiengi MP. In my response, I said it will be administered to the children under 2 years. It will not only be Rapula, but the whole country. But if you have seen, we have prioritized areas that are prone. Rapula is one of those. Northwestern, Western, Central. So we are carrying out actually mapping issues. And I think our officers are everywhere. We are concerned, and this thing has been with us for a long time. I think this vaccine will help us going forward. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Bahati.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, currently there are 2 vaccines that have been approved by the WHO. The old one is RTS, which is being administered in parts of Africa. Malawi is one example I can give here, and I think Malawi has been administering this vaccine the last 3 years. Then the new one is R21 Matrix. Minister, in your response, you alluded to the fact that you are also considering RTSS. I just want you to clarify, which one are you going to bring into the country? Are you going to bring in both vaccines, or you just bring in the new R21 Matrix? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Honourable Member of Parliament for Bahati, for the follow-up. I said both R21 and the RTS01 are both good enough. One of the 2 will be administered. Yeah. Sorry, one of the 2. Depending on which one will be available, Mr. Speaker. Yes. I thank you.
Yeah. Next question, the Honourable Member for Mulowezi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving the group of Mulowezi this chance to ask question number 86.
The Honourable Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises Development.
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Mulowezi constituents, Mr. Mabenga, asked the Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development the following questions. A, whether the government has any plans to reserve the following categories of investments for Zambians. I, block making. 2, chicken rearing and egg production. And the last question, whether the government has deliberate policies that support Zambians' venture in the investment I've just talked about. Mr. Speaker, our response is, yes, the government has plans to reserve the block making, chicken rearing, and egg production categories of investments for Zambians. Pursuant to Section 24 of the Citizen Economic Empowerment Act number 9 of 2026, government through the Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission is mandated to reserve specific areas of commerce, trade, and industry for targeted citizens, citizen-empowered companies, citizen-influenced companies, and citizen-owned companies. 1. Block making. Government through the Commission in 2015 had made submission to reserve poultry and focusing on broilers, quarry stock block making, and domestic haulage. Only statutory instrument number 1 of 2017 on poultry and domestic haulage was effected by the government. These notwithstanding, targeted citizens and companies had limitations in skills and appropriate technology to meet the market demand. To enhance the production capacity of targeted citizens and citizen-owned companies in block, quarry making, and broiler production, government through Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission has empowered SMEs and cooperatives in the quarry stroke block making subsector as follows. 1. Quarry and 26 block making project with an estimated total investment of 9.6 million across the country. In addition, government through CEC in 2024 is proposing the following in the area of quarry stroke block making industry. 1. Restrict new ventures in quarry and block, bricks, pavers production to targeted companies only, and this is immediate. 2. Restrict transportation, supply of sand, gravel, and crushed stones for public works to targeted companies only. This is 12 months. Restrict manufacturing and vending of pavers, blocks, and bricks to targeted companies only. That's within 1 year, 12 months. Self-supply by foreign contractors of sand, pavers, blocks, and bricks for public works be prohibited. That's immediate. Restrict investments that are below $5 million in cement and tile fixing production, mining design, environmental impact assessment, engineering services, insurance, transportation, and accounting services be restricted to targeted citizens and companies only. Renewable work permit exceeding 2 years be granted to foreign investors only with accompanying local capacity development. Number 2, chicken rearing and eggs production. Increasing the production of poultry is being actualized through the implementation of agricultural mechanization and agro-processing empowerment products under CEC across the country as follows. A total of 101 SMEs and cooperatives with estimated investment of 19.7 million in chicken rearing and eggs production have already been supported countrywide. Working with local authorities and Poultry Association of Zambia, the public markets are being monitored and reinforced the restriction on trading of live birds to targeted citizens and companies. However, more measures would be taken to ensure compliance to the statutory provisions. Yes, this is now the question B. Yes, government has deliberate policies in place meant to support Zambians to venture in investments which I'm talking about above. Government has made policy provisions through CEC Act with the following specific measures. Provision of access to affordable finance by targeted citizens and enterprise willing to venture in the reserved schemes. Promotion of joint venture initiatives between foreign and targeted citizens and enterprises. Promotion of greenfield investments through the implementation of the district value chain programs using our SMEs and cooperatives, ensuring that targeted citizens and enterprises are given preferential treatment in accessing and being awarded tenders for procurement of services and goods for any state institution. The Commission facilitates targeted citizens and enterprise to register for preferential procurement certificates that given them added advantage to participate in public tenders. Provision of entrepreneurship and business skills training. The last one. In our revised MSME and cooperative policy, the implementation of the revised SME policy and cooperative provide clear investment opportunity for SMEs and cooperatives enterprises. Thank you.
The Honorable Member from Lowezi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Minister, the block-making industry is still under the hands of the foreigners. Is there a law that deliberates bar them from actually going ahead with this activity? Because right now, it's under the hands, it's under the foreigners. If you go around Lusaka, you find all block-making machines or whatever industry, it's under the foreigners. So is there a law to actually support the Zambians to ensure that the foreigners are not allowed to produce, start going on producing blocks? We have the youth, that's supposed to be their survival. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Small, Medium Enterprises Development.
Mr. Speaker, I've just said block-making. Through our Commission on System Economic Empowerment Commission in 2015, had made submissions to reserve the block-making for our citizens. But then, we also need to understand that it was difficult at one point to build capacity. We found out that, our Zambian small businesses, or these who are into block making, we encouraging them through CEC and through my ministry to get into block making. If today, Honorable Member from Lowezi Parliament constituents, if today through my ministry we said no more of making blocks by our foreigner investors, we shall have a problem. So we are actually now building capacity, and we are encouraging our SMEs out there to venture into block making. That's what we're doing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chiruvi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bearing in mind that we are in a liberalized economy, but where government should play a regulatory role. From what the minister has read, over what was asked as to be spared for Zambians, he has read intentions, he has also read some commitments that government has made, but have not heard a predictable framework in which government intends to implement such, so that Zambians can predict, even from the CEC framework or any, that these are reserved for. I know and I do realize that, as the minister have said, that you cannot just purge them out, because it's already
It's almost a monopoly by the foreigners, especially block making. But do we have any framework, not guidelines, but a framework under which we are implementing, either in phases of saying, since we want to phase out and Zambians were not empowered in this manner, phase one will do this, and this is what we do, and this is to go with such a registration. I think that's what Zambians want to hear.
The Honorable Minister of Small, Medium Enterprises Development.
I think I heard him, but I need to answer him in like this. I said in 2015, there was a submission through Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission to reserve block making and chicken rearing for Zambians only. I talked about, limitations because of, skills to be developed. Now, I also said government has revised in the new policy to reinforce. And I also said we are monitoring. And we are also encouraging the Zambians, SMEs, to venture into, for example, block making. And even you, Honorable member of Chilubi, you must encourage our SMEs in Chilubi so that you can also build capacity. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Sinazongwe.
Honorable Speaker, let me thank the Member of Parliament for Mlovezi for coming up with this very, very important question, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Zambians have been spectators for quite long. These are the areas that Zambians should take up, but because of lacking capital, foreigners have taken advantage. This, Honorable Minister, it has to come to a stop. Now, my point of clarification, Honorable Mr. Speaker, to the Minister in charge is arising from the movements by the Honorable Member, who is the Minister of Sports, who has traversed this country, informing youth what they should do, more or less incapacitating them with knowledge and resources. I wanted to find out from the Honorable Minister whether, in the same line with what his counterpart is doing, he moved throughout the country to tell the Zambians to say they need to take this advantage and take control of these industries that they themselves can run. Because what lacks sometimes is the information to our people, and also where to get the resources. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises Development.
Mr. Speaker, I'm all over this country.
The Honorable Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises Development.
Mr. Speaker, I am also all over sensitizing people throughout this country, encouraging them to participate in what government is giving through my ministry. We do have, where cooperatives are concerned, we have a college which has now what we call a mobile clinic. They go around giving capacity to our cooperatives throughout the country. I was in Southern Province. Of course, I did not go through all the districts, but selected districts to try and give information to our SMEs and cooperatives to participate in the initiatives government is doing, making sure that they also, take this opportunity of investing in chicken rearing or block making. Mr. Speaker, the other thing is that it has to take a bit of time. I don't know why especially our youths, to seize these opportunities. Some of our youths are actually working with our foreign investors in this, subsector. But they are not coming forth to form up joint ventures, to form up companies that would venture in, for example, block making. So I am encouraging them even now through this platform, Mr. Speaker, that come out. Government is here to support you, to help you, so that we can, start making blocks ourselves through our youth enterprises. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member from Lowezi. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Minister, in terms of capacity building, because we are just playing lip service to this capacity building, why can't we come up with a Marshall Plan whereby you force these existing companies to partner with the Zambians? That's the only way we can move forward, because we are just talking, saying there's no capacity. We have to build the capacity ourselves. We can only build the capacity if we force these organizations to partner with Zambia, that there shouldn't be any company that sets up a company without Zambian in that particular company. Why can't we do that through a law? There must be a law to back up that thing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Small Medium Enterprises Development.
Mr. Speaker, this government, UPND government, deliberately has come up with public-private partnership, where we are encouraging the private sector to partner first with government so that we can direct them and go into partnership with our local entrepreneurs to get into such ventures like block making. And we've got skills, centers, training centers in our constituencies and in our districts and provinces. This is where our entrepreneurs, or those that intend to venture into such, ventures, they should be able to get capacity. In CDF, CDF is doing a lot. We're giving capacity. It's high time, Mr. Speaker, that we change as Zambians. We look at ourselves. Yes, I agree with you that it's like we are just talking about it. Government has given clear policy and reserved what our people are supposed to participate in. But it's also, I can't go and start pulling them that you start making, blocks. So it's also an initiative of the entrepreneurs, our youths out there, to seize these opportunities. We've laid down our policies. We've reserved some of, what I've just talked about for our people. This is why we're seeing our foreign investors are taking advantage, because it's a vacuum there. So even the members of parliament are encouraged in Molobeze. That is for wood processing as well. That we encourage our youths in Molobeze to get into that, because in Molobeze there's a lot of wood in there, and obviously the wood processing would be good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next question, the Honourable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 87.
The Acting Minister of Tourism.
Dental formula. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Member of Parliament would like to find out what measures are being taken to promote tourism in the foreign areas. North Rangwa National Park, Nachikufu Cave, Nabwaria and the Mungule chiefdoms, and in B, when the government will award the hunting concessions in North Rangwa National Park. Mr. Speaker, thank you also for footballs. Mr. Speaker, in order to promote tourism in North Rangwa National Park, the government has collaborated with Frankfurt Zoological Society in a program called the North Rangwa Conservation Program, NLCP, since 1986. The activities being rolled out on this landscape include park management, community-based natural resources management, to mention a few. Further, the government is working at improving accessibility to all tourism sites, and North Rangwa National Park is one of the sites earmarked for tourism infrastructure development. Nachkufu Cave. Mr. Speaker, the measures that government has taken to promote tourism at this Nachkufu Cave include opening up the caves to the public, meaning that those that are interested to visit the site can do so within a stipulated time. Government has also ensured that the fees to heritage sites such as Nachkufu caves are very affordable. However, government would like to facilitate for the provisions of more visitors and tourism facilities at the site. In this regard, government is calling upon the private sector to partner with it and invest in the heritage sites in the country as a whole by building lodges and other tourism facilities in order to grow the sector. Nabwaria and the Mungule chiefdom. Mr. Speaker, the measures taken in the above chiefdoms by the government include support rendered in the form of grant during the traditional ceremony which takes place every October. Further, the government promotes the ceremony through different media and gives concessions for wild animal to be slaughtered during the ceremony. In B, when the government will award hunting concession in North Rangwa Park, according to the Zambia Wildlife Act number 14 of 2015, no hunting activities are allowed to take place in any national park. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your response. Mr. Speaker, hunting concessions in Luwawata and Nyampala in Nawara Chiefdom as well as Mukungule, hunting blocks were cancelled in 2021. Since then, there has never been any hunting safaris in these hunting blocks. Hence the question of when the government will award hunting concessions in these hunting blocks. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
The Acting Minister of Tourism.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the follow-up question. Government actually encourages hunting. And when hunting is encouraged, it first of all looks at the stock. And also it wants sustainable hunting so that animals are not depleted. There could be reasons why the government took such a step. But when time is ripe, I think it will be opened. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Chairman North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Minister, the North Rangwa National Park, indeed, it has a lot of wildlife. The issue of tourism, Honourable Minister, what measures is your government putting in place to attract domestic tourists because currently we focus very much on the foreign tourists. So what measures is your government put in place? Because I know that most of these lodges are quite expensive for the domestic tourists to visit those areas. I thank you.
The Acting Minister of Tourism.
Thank you. This government has been encouraging Zambians, even putting up lodges. But the trend we have, if I asked even here to members of parliament, how many people have been to Zambezi source in Ikele? There are very few. Very few. You through the committee. Had it not been for the committee. We are very poor at tourism. Our friends are close. They save. But anyway, it's our nature because of cost of living. And also, others also, like there's one tribe in Northwestern. Moment they say wild animal, they want to kill. It is a culture we need to develop, especially for the kids, for the school kids to know the type of animals and what have you, like it is in Livingstone. It is encouraged actually, but anyway, the accessible roads are being done, and also we need also to grow up the numbers so that we can attract more. Should be encouraging even to members of parliament. It should also be a deliberate move. Take members of parliament to go and see Zambesos, to go and see North Rwangwa, South Rwangwa, to go around. But if that culture is not there, we need to build it up actually, so that we can balance the equation with our colleagues who are coming from abroad. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Kasama Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the people of Kasama Central constituency, question number 88.
The Honorable Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And thank you very much, Honorable Member. I know that you're asking on behalf of the people of Kasama, obviously. But maybe, Mr. Speaker, allow me to take advantage of this opportunity, because I didn't have that opportunity to thank the Vice President in the manner that is answering questions to the public through this House. I want to appreciate her for the good answers she has been providing. It is important for us to motivate leaders by giving credit where it is due. So, Madam Vice President, please continue. And also just to encourage you that you should be motivated by the fact that our colleagues on the left, we don't expect praises from them. More like Satan will never praise God. I thought I should mention. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I want to indicate from the onset that the question that is before this House, and through this House, the Zambian people should understand that the responsibility of renovating this stadium that I'll be talking about is as far as responsibility. Our role was just to provide the 4 stadia. We just facilitated to make this 4 stadia available and here marked for rehabilitation. So the contracts, everything was done by the Football Association of Zambia. Now, taking into account that that is a federation that is under the Minister of Sport, we are compelled to answer
these questions. And the question is, what the progress in percentage terms on the construction of the Kasama Stadium was as of March 2024. In B, who the contractor for the project is. In C, what the cause of the delay in completing the project is. And finally, in D, what the time frame for the completion of the project is. Our response, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Kasama may wish to note that the progress on the construction of Kasama Stadium is as follows. Number one, installation of the football pitch is at 95%. And number two, the general civil works are at 69%. In B, who the contractor is. We had two contractors who were engaged by the Football Association of Zambia to undertake construction works at Kasama Stadium. And these are Artificial Grass Africa, which is a foreign-based company from South Africa, which was given to construct the football pitch. And for the information, we just don't give contracts anyhow when it comes to putting up a pitch. These are specialized. The second contractor is Nambwa Construction Company Limited, which is a Zambian company, and they are doing those general civil works. And when we talk about general civil works, that includes the wall fence around the stadium, rehabilitation of dressing rooms, rehabilitation of ablution blocks, construction of the ticketing rooms, rehabilitation of the grandstand, and also the other two terraces and the perimeter wire fencing for the football pitch. In C, Mr. Speaker, the client, which is FAS, hired MP consultants to provide supervision of the project. However, the consultant did not undertake his responsibility as agreed upon with the Football Association of Zambia, as they failed to supervise the works to the detail, causing the delay. Because of lack of supervision, it caused a delay in completing the project. And to this effect, Honorable Member of Parliament for Kasama Central may wish to note that FAS terminated the contract for MP consultants and has since been replaced by Civotech Consultants Zambia Limited. Civotech Consultants Zambia Limited, who has currently taken over supervision of the site. Indeed, the initial time frame for the completion of the project was just 6 months. However, the project has now taken more than 1 year due to poor supervision by the MP consultant and the collapsing of the perimeter stadium. And I also want to factors. There was also a funding there, which one of the issues of that. Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Minister, thank you for your response. But I'm just worried with the slow pace at which this project has taken. Honorable Minister, don't you have plans of escalating the construction of stadium in other districts, like Isoka constituency, which has none of such ventures for our youths? I say so because this will prevent our youth from involving themselves in illicit activities. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Member, for that follow-up question. Very important question. And I'm very excited, Mr. Speaker, that Honourable Nakaponda has talked about his young people indulging themselves in illicit activities because of lack of playing fields, lack of infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, in this House, we've said it before, that sometimes when we are looking at a challenge, we need also to look at what really transpired, what made the escalation of that particular challenge. So when I was talking in this House that previously, we saw a situation where some sports infrastructure were being encroached in, some sports infrastructure were being shared for plots, residential plots, some sports infrastructure were being sold to churches. This is what comes after you've really miscalculated. So I believe that indeed today we are able to talk about the junkies, today we are able to talk about the fluffies. It's because of where we are coming from. What you do today will reflect tomorrow. So I think you need to be comforted, Honorable Kaponda, that some of these issues are being reversed. And also, we have now a strategic plan where we want at least per year to be constructing at least 1 or 2 multi-sports facilities in this country through the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts. But I want Mr. Speaker to go further. Remember, at one point I came here and said that this is the ministry that has not tapped into CDF. So I was trying to encourage members of parliament to help this ministry, to help themselves, because talent is in every corner of this country.
Yeah.
But what we are lacking is sports infrastructure. And I'm on record, Mr. Speaker, that not demeaning anybody, we want to understand that talent is the most well-paid job on earth. We have people with masters, we have professors, we have degree holders, but look at those that are involved in sport. How much are they getting per month, per week? Cristiano Ronaldo was getting $500,000 a week. Mr. Speaker, can you tell me which degree holder can get such an amount of money per week? So a talent is the most well-paid job on earth. If harnessed properly, harnessed well, we'll be able to make sure that poverty will be somewhere else, will not be in those families. Now, members of parliament, I want to encourage you that now the prototype has been done, where we have about 5 pitches with different disciplines, sports disciplines, and it is costing 7 million in total. So we can now tap into CDF by saying this year or 2025, we put up a pitch, because every pitch has been costed. So if you want only a football pitch, it has been costed. If you want a futsal pitch, it has been costed. If you want dressing rooms, costed. Everything has been costed. So you should not burn your neurons on where you get money from. You can stagger amounts so that, for instance, 2025, you put up only football pitch. Next year, you put up volleyball pitch. The other year, netball. So that by the time you are done with all the 5, it will come to 7 million. So I may be coming to this House, Mr. Speaker, to come and present a ministerial statement over those issues so that every member of parliament will be able to tap into CDF. So, answering your question, Honorable Kaponda, we may not have the capacity as government to give every member of parliament the desired sports infrastructure, but I believe that through CDF we can tap into it as well so that we can also have sports infrastructure in every constituency. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
The Honourable Member for Kasama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your elaborate answer. Mr. Speaker, if my memory serves me right, the funds for the stadium were actually from FIFA, and it was channeled to FAS. So it's actually been quite a number of years. So I wanted to find out if there's an anticipated need for additional budget allocation to cover any overruns or increased costs due to delays. And yet again, Honourable Minister, you have told us about the contractors who have also been part of the delays. So I wanted to find out, has there been any assessments on the contractors' performance, and have any penalties been charged for the delays? I submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Member, for that important follow-up question. And I totally agree with you that that is what is obtaining when it comes to increased costs. If you remember very well, each stadium was given, I think, a total amount of $300,000. FIFA gave FAS $1.5 million to rehabilitate Kasama Sports Complex, Kaole Stadium, Independence Stadium in Solwezi, Northwestern, and David Kaunda Stadium in Chipata. We also wanted to do Maramba Stadium, but because we couldn't finalize on the lease of that particular stadium, so we couldn't go to Livingstone. But, in fact, even this morning I was talking to the Football Association of Zambia to ascertain the progress of that particular project and how it could expeditedly be done. So what they are telling us as government is that come November month end, they want to make sure that they complete the works of Kasama Sports Complex. All those other issues, I think they will be able to sort them themselves. As I said, that again, it's not just about the contractor, it is also erratic funding that has characterized that particular project. So I think they had assured me that they will mobilize more resources so that they can finish that stadium. And by the end of November, we may hand over that stadium to the community. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We move on to the next question. This previous question was quite specific. The Honourable Member for Chinsali.
Question number 89.
The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock, the Acting Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question asked by Honorable Kalalwe Mukosa, Chinsali constituency, to ask the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock two questions. A, what the number of the following categories of livestock in Chinsali district was as of March 2023? 1, cattle, 2, sheep, and 3, goats. B, what measures are being taken to promote livestock farming in the district? Mr. Speaker, the answer to A is as follows. The number of the following categories of livestock in Chinsali district as as at March 2023 was as follows. 1. Cattle, 9,439. 2. Sheep, 162. 3. Goats, 32,607. The Honourable Member may wish to note that these figures represent the livestock numbers kept by smallholder farming sector. Answer to question B. The measures government is putting in place to cultivate a culture of livestock keeping in the districts include the following. 1. There are 8 of them. So I'll start with number 1. Stocking and restocking. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member may wish to recall that he once participated in this activity where a number of beneficiaries from across the district received different livestock packages such as cattle, village chickens, and goats. 2. Formation of school livestock clubs. As the Honourable Member may be aware, culturally, livestock keeping especially is not a common practice among households in the area. As government, we believe this can be changed for future generations through the introduction of school livestock clubs. This aims to inculcate livestock keeping and mindset change at an early age in our children. 3. Provision of affordable quality breeding stock. Mr. Speaker, again the Honourable Member will agree with me that in Chinsari District lies Mbesuma Livestock Breeding Center, whose primary purpose is to produce affordable breeding stock for farmers within the district and beyond. 4. Provision of extension and advisory services. My ministry, Mr. Speaker, has presence in the district to ensure farmers have access to adequate extension services. Number 5, establishment of a farmer training center. Mr. Speaker, my ministry has constructed a modern farmer training institute, livestock service center, Tier 3 at Mbesuma Ranch, where farmers are being taught different types in animal husbandry. 6. The ministry is also supporting collaboration with other programs such as the Scaling Up Nutrition, SUN, and Transforming Landscapes for Resilience and Development, which is TRALAD, in promoting the stocking and restocking program. 7. Promotion of on-farm pasture production and rehabilitation for improved ruminant livestock nutrition. Lastly, number 8, livestock infrastructure improvement through the construction of livestock service centers, livestock feed milling plants, and district veterinary laboratory as submitted.
The Honourable Member for Chinsari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for the answer that you have provided. Minister, I want to take you to the response that you provided regarding the measures that are being put in place to improve and support livestock farming in Chinsali. I can hear the good plans that the government has, but on infrastructure, I didn't hear you talk about deep tanks. Does the government have plans to construct deep tanks in Chinsali? Because one of the reasons why the livestock population is very low, especially cattle, it's because of diseases. So does the government have plans to build deep tanks in strategic areas in Chinsali? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether the Honourable Member of Parliament for Chinsali was in the House the other day when I issued a comprehensive statement on deep tanks. Minister, Honorable, you are free to come and look at the statement, and let me take this opportunity to inform you that there's devolution in terms of veterinary services in all districts. So some of these functions are going to fall under the local district administration. I submit.
Next question, the Honorable Member for Katombola. The Honorable Member for Katombola is not in the House.
Actually,
there wasn't prior arrangement.
I indicated prior arrangement.
There wasn't prior arrangement.
Yes, the chief whip has the.
I'm not aware. May you take your seat?
Where's the chief whip? Chief whip.
That question elapses. Next question. The Honorable Member for Bwana Mkubwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing the people of Bwana Mkubwa to ask a question. Mr. Speaker, question number 91. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable members, Member of Parliament for Bwana Mkubwa is asking the Minister of Green Economy and Environment the following question. A, whether the government has any plans to conduct drought and floods preparedness sensitization programs countrywide. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, what measures the government is implementing to preserve water bodies. And D, what the water deficit in various sectors was as at March 2024. Mr. Speaker, our answers are as follows. A, government has plans to conduct drought and floods preparedness sensitization programs countrywide. The drought and flood preparedness programs are under the mandate of DMMU, to which my ministry provides data which informs decision making. In addition, government is sensitizing the nation on the expected outcome of the 2024-2025 rainfall season through dissemination of the 2024-2025 season rainfall forecast. The forecast highlights implications of the season. The 2024-2025 season indicates normal to above average rainfall in most parts of the country, and therefore there is a high likelihood of flash floods and flooding in flood-prone areas. B, the dissemination of the seasonal rainfall forecast is an ongoing process and commenced on 6th September 2024 when the seasonal forecast was launched. Other than the ministerial statement on the seasonal forecast presented to this August House on Tuesday 17th September 2024, information is also disseminated through various media platforms, including short message service, WhatsApp system, other internet platforms, and agriculture extension officers to reach the rural population that may not access information through the above-mentioned platforms. C, Mr. Speaker, government is implementing the following measures to preserve water bodies. 1, protection of catchment areas for these water bodies by promoting tree planting and natural regeneration to prevent land degradation which affects water bodies. 2, promotion of alternative livelihoods to communities living around the water bodies in order to reduce the depletion of resources such as fish. Notable among the alternative livelihood initiatives are projects such as the Sustainable Wangwa projects, Lake Tanganyika Development Project, and other government support through programs such as the social cash transfer, Food Security Pack, and Farmer Input Support Program. This is on the premise that livelihood options are inherent in the listed programs. Number 3, government has continued creating awareness and sensitizing communities living around these water bodies on the importance of protecting these critical ecosystems. And D, the question on the water deficit in various sectors, Mr. Speaker, is beyond the portfolio of my Ministry of Green Economy and Environment, as the mandate lies with the Ministry of Water Development. I therefore, through you, Mr. Speaker, wish to request the Member of Parliament to consider redirecting the said question to the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chiluvi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Early warning measures and other initiatives are meant to prepare the citizens to react to disasters and resilience. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, there was projection that we are likely to have rainfall around the last weeks of September and the first weeks of October. That did not happen. And when we are talking about weather, it's controlled by God. And given this chance that the anticipation that we expected that that's how the weather would be has not happened. And we are talking about water harvesting, we are talking about energy, we are talking about agriculture, and all those factors, so that even when we explain to people, the citizens will be ready to say government did explain. And this question is particularly addressing the issue of early warning, and yet we have also seen that what we projected has not worked. I want to ask the minister whether, because he's talking about awareness, whether government has put in measures at district level to do awareness either through the DC's office or any other office, so that citizens should start adjusting, especially that what we projected by our own expectation has not happened. And what if we may have flash floods and in certain areas drought? How are we prepared, the citizens? Are we preparing, especially at district level, so that we narrow down this, not just at national level, but it comes to district level, and it's a robust plan, campaign plan. Are we preparing that way?
Thank you. You've asked 4 questions. The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. So, the Honourable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I totally agree with you that it was a series of questions. But let me say this, that indeed the early warning systems are meant to protect our people in case of a disaster as projected, or in case there are floods as we are projecting. And this ministry has provided information already to different government wings, including the DMMU, who are already speaking, using this information to speak to the people in flood-prone areas. You heard even this morning when Her Honor the Vice President was talking, she also touched on that we must be preparing our people, and that our people must be ready to move in areas where we are likely to have floods. They should not resist. So this information has been provided, and various wings of government are using this information to prepare our people. Not too long ago, we saw the Minister of Agriculture coming to this august house to give a ministerial statement on what is expected, on what the farmers should do. Again, this was based on the information which has come from the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment on the projected rainfall forecast for 2024 to 2025. So the information has been given and it's being utilized to prepare our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Bonamkubwa. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question was slightly hijacked, but thank you, Honorable Member for Chiluvi. Thank you, Minister, for the answers you are providing, and I think, Honorable Speaker, I did ask Honorable Vice President a similar question earlier, not noticing that this question is coming. But, Honorable Minister, my question is just maybe a clarification is you've intimated that you are collaborating with DMMU and other sectors who are conversant with the issue of early warning and preparedness in terms of such calamities. My question is, have you carried out any sensitization program with AFOSAID collaborating sectors such as DMMU to ensure that our people are warned early for them to prepare, as it were? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Green Economy and Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the Member of Parliament for Bonamkubwa for that follow-up question. And my answer is that yes, we have. After we launched the 2024-2025 rainfall forecast, our officers from the various ministries have been meeting to discuss this projection and to prepare that this information should be sent down to our people through even the district, as low as the district. And I want to say that some of this information, Mr. Speaker, plans are there to even put them, to convert them into local languages so that even those that may not be able to read English should be able to read in their local languages in terms of what we are projecting, and also for them to prepare. So that has been done, and our technocrats are meeting continuously around these issues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next question. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 92.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Mewtwo of Kalabo Central asks the following questions. At A, whether the government has any plans to establish industrial yards at district level in order to enhance implementation of economic activities, and B, whether there are economic planners at district levels to enhance economic activities. The response at A, yes, Mr. Speaker, government has plans to establish industrial yards at district level. The government first commenced the construction of industrial yards at provincial level and have so far completed 8 in 7 provinces. Currently, construction of industrial yards is earmarked for Choma, Kabwe, and Chinsali, which were not covered in the project's initial phase. Once construction of industrial yards at provincial levels is concluded, additional industrial yards will be constructed in the districts across all provinces, depending on the availability of funds. At B, Mr. Speaker, yes, government has economic planners who are also called socio-economic planners. These planners are found at the district level in all the local authorities countrywide under the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. At provincial level, The government has socio-economic planners working in all the 10 provincial planning units, PPUs, which fall under the Ministry of Finance and National Planning. The socio-economic planners are responsible for coordinating the socio-economic planning in the districts, as well as enhancing the collaboration with the stakeholders to spur economic activities at the sub-national level. Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for that good response. There's hope that these industrial hubs will be localized in the districts. My question, Honorable Minister, is these socio-economic planners, to what standards are they expected to work? How accessible are these socio-economic planners by the locals in the districts? Because I'm asking this, Honorable Minister, the socio-economic planners, like for those in Kalabo, they are only visible when the CDF activities are being held. But there aren't interactive faces with the community. So what is it that can make these socio-economic planners easily accessed by the locals? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Honorable Mewto. The socio-economic planners ought to be accessible to all the people who are within the district council, because they've been employed to serve the councils and the people in those councils. So if there are problems, then I think those problems need to be brought to the attention of the employing agency, which is the Local Government Service Commission, through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. But otherwise, in terms of why they were employed, it is to serve the local people. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chinsari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister. I would just like to get a clarification on the industrial yards that are supposed to be constructed in Chinsali and Choma. Has the construction process commenced in these two provincial centers, Chinsali and Choma? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry I'm not able to answer that question because the work is being supervised by a sister ministry, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. So I'm sorry I don't have the exact answers that the Honorable Member seeks, but I can find out and I can be able to pass the information over to him later. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Chiluvi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to find out, since government is developing integrated district plans at district level, whether the projection of the industrial yards has already been mainstreamed in those district plans. I repeat. Okay. No, it seems to be.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
I'm saying I want to find out since government has embarked on developing the integrated district plans at district level, whether you have mainstreamed the industrial yards already in the integrated plans at district level.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not really sure whether I understand the question, but let me try and respond according to how I've understood. I think he was saying, since councils ought to have district plans, what you call the integrated plans, are the sheds, industrial parks, part of those plans? Okay, in which case I would say that these plans, obviously, they are interactive in the sense that they are activities, plans that are initiated from the local level. There are also plans where the central government can say, okay, you may not have planned for this, but I'll plan, and then we integrate. So in that respect, my answer would be that it is indeed the wish and plan of the central government to ensure that these industrial sites are available in all the districts so that they complement what the districts have already planned. Thank you.
Her Honor, the Vice President, adjournment.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate, any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
House and business for today and for this week has just been concluded. And before we end our live broadcast, we'll have a look at what has been discussed on the floor of the House today, starting with the announcement that was made on the floor of the House.
So, Mr. Speaker did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Lumumba pre-primary and secondary schools in Lusaka district, and on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Mr. Speaker did welcome the visitors to the National Assembly.
And that after that announcement, there were urgent matters without notice that were considered, followed by Her Honor the Vice President's question time. Thereafter, there was a ministerial statement that was rendered by the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development on the non-payment of residents of Shangombo district who were engaged under the Food for Work program. And the details of this ministerial statement was that in the ministerial statement was that on the concern raised by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Sinjembela constituency regarding the non-payment beneficiaries under the Cash for Work program, the Minister did indicate to the House that of the Cash for Work program, he highlighted of other things, the fact that his Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development an initial amount of 68.5 million, which amount was consequently disbursed to all the affected 123
Rural Development has faced a total amount of 400 to all the constituencies, the CAS. The minister further indicated that various works are currently being undertaken in all the affected constituencies. Payments are being done by local authorities as and when the beneficiary complete the various tasks assigned to them. The minister did say that deliver the statement that Shangombo Town Council has did add that Shangombo Town Council has received a total of 2.1 million for beneficiaries under Sinjembela constituency who have worked under the program.
And the minister went on to state that the mode of payment to the beneficiaries for the Cash for Work program is through the banks via mobile money transfer using available mobile money network providers. And he indicated that most local authorities have started making payments through banks via the available mobile networks in those areas, and he acknowledged that some locations had difficulties to pay via mobile platforms due to non-availability of mobile network signals. And for such areas, his ministry has engaged various financial institutions available in those localities to provide cash in transit CIT services to ensure the beneficiaries receive the money they have worked for.
And the minister added that the other challenge which has delayed payments to beneficiaries is the mismatch between the names the beneficiaries provide when being recruited against those registered with mobile services providers for their SIM cards.
And the minister went on to inform the House that as he had indicated to the House, the ministry has put in place the following measures to mitigate the challenges that were faced in paying the beneficiaries. And these measures are: 1, the ministry has concluded consultations with financial institutions to make payments seamless, and 2, local authorities have been guided to recruit data entry clerks to facilitate the entering and the cleaning of data in each ward. Further, he informed the House that local authorities have also been instructed to recruit beneficiaries for 3 months in advance to allow for cleaning of data. And the minister also did appeal to members of parliament in the affected constituencies to help in the sensitization and dissemination of information on the Cash for Work program. So that was the ministerial statement by the Minister of Local Government and Housing on the social cash transfer, or rather not on the Food for Work program that has been raised by Shangombo, Member of Parliament.
Thereafter, the Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development did present the Zambia Institute for Quantity Surveyor National Assembly Bill number 19 of 2024, and this bill has been referred to the Committee of Works and Supply, and a report is expected to be taken on 27th November 2024.
And thereafter, the House went on to consider questions for oral answer understanding order number 80, and one of the questions came from Mr. Chivombwe, Member of Parliament for Bahati, and he posed this question to the Minister of Health. And the first part of the question, he wanted to know whether government has any plans to start administering the R21 matrix malaria vaccine to children under the age of 5 in Luapula province. And part B of the question, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And part C of the question, when the government has whether government has conducted any research on the vaccines to prove its efficacy. And in response, the minister did inform the House that government has plans to start administering the R21 matrix vaccine matrix malaria vaccine to children under the age of 5 in Luapula province. And when the plans will be implemented, the minister informed the House that the plans will be implemented in the 3rd quarter of 2025. And whether government has conducted any research, the minister informed the House that government has not done any research on the vaccine to prove its efficacy.
The other question which was considered is question 88, which came from Ms. Sibongile Mwamba, Kasama Central Constituency Member of Parliament. She did pose a question to the Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts. She wanted to find out in 4 parts. In A, what the progress in percentage terms on the construction of the Kasama Stadium was as of March 2024, and the Minister did say that the installation of the pitch is at 95%, whilst the general civil works are at 69%. And in answering part B of the question, which was the name of the contractor, the Minister did say that there were 2 contractors which were engaged. These are Artificial Grass Africa and Nambwa Construction Limited. And in answering part C, which was the cause of the delay in completing the project, the Minister did state that the lack of supervision caused the delay in completing the project.
And we had a question coming from Chinsali Member of Parliament, Mr. Mkosa, and he directed his question to the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. And the first part of the question, he wanted to know the number of the following and categories of livestock in Chinsali district was as of March 2023. So this was cattle, sheep and goats. And part B of the question, what measures are being taken to promote livestock farming in the district? And in response to this question, the acting Minister of Fisheries and Livestock indicated to the House that in total, as of March 2023, there were 9,439 heads of cattle and sheep. There were 162, whilst goats were numbering to 32,607. And this number, and he did indicate that this number represented the smallholder farming sector. And part B of the question, whether there are measures being taken to promote livestock farming in the district, the Minister informed the House that the government was doing restocking and the stocking of cattle, and also formation of school livestock clubs, as well as provision of affordable quality breeding stocks, and also provision of advisory extension services, and also the establishment of farmer training centers. So that is what government is doing to promote livestock farming in the district.
Yes, so just to make mention that the other question which wasn't considered was question 90, which was expected to come from Mr. Clement Andeleki Katombola, Member of Parliament. He did direct his question to the Minister of Justice. So this question wasn't considered because the member wasn't in the House.
So those are just some of the questions that were considered on the floor of the House today. And we come to the end of our live broadcast for today, which is the 1st November 2024. We wish to thank you, all of you, for tuning in to Parliament Television. We continue bringing Parliament closer to you next week. So remember that we are always updating you on what is happening right here in the House at Parliament Buildings. So for now, we just want to wish you a very good weekend and God's blessings.